What's going on, fight fans? It's Sebastian and we're back with the boxing tip. I don't want to spend too much time talking about this subject, but since it seems to be a popular topic in the YouTube boxing community, I'll go ahead and just kind of share my thoughts about it. And in this video, I'm going to be answering one question and one question only. What is next for Vasyl Hi-Tec Lomachenko? And let me go ahead and give you a little bit of background. Vasyl Hi-Tec Lomachenko is a Ukrainian fighter, had a stellar amateur career, and just came off a very impressive victory over Nicholas Walters, making him quit on the stool after 7 rounds of pretty much outclassing him. So what's next for him? That is the big question. And within that question lies, in my count, I have actually 3 questions to ask myself and pretty much answer them on this video. Is what weight should he fight at? Who should he fight? And why should he fight that particular fighter? But really, all these questions kind of mesh together because depending on who he chooses to fight might determine what weight he fights at and why he chooses to fight a certain fighter. So the first question I'm going to go ahead and answer is, what weight should Vasyl Lomachenko fight at? Personally, for me, I would like to see him stay at 130 pounds. I feel like there's some really good fighters there that he could really get some good fights in with. Maybe chase down a few more of those titles. And I'll go ahead and list off some fighters that I feel he should fight at 130 pounds. The first fighter I'm going to go ahead and talk about is probably one of the more anticipated ones, his Orlando Salido rematch. Now, in the first fight, there was a bit of a dispute. Salido actually came into the fight very overweight, and he also fouled Lomachenko a bunch of times in the duration of the fight. Most people see Lomachenko winning. A lot of other people see Salido winning that fight. Me, personally, I don't really feel like I should share my thoughts on that one, just because I'm pretty sure you guys might already know what I'm going to say. But anyway, I'm not going to talk too much about who I think would win in the rematch. I just think that would be a good fight to make. It gives Lomachenko a chance to get his vengeance and kind of vindicate himself from that only loss on his professional record. And I'm not going to talk about who I think would win in any of the fighters that I'm going to name off. This is just purely me talking about who I think would be a good fight for him next. The second fight that I would like to see Lomachenko make would be against him and the person he just called out after his victory over Nicholas Walters is Francisco Vargas. He is the WBC title holder of the junior lightweight division or super featherweight division. I think that fight would be pretty interesting. You know, Salido gave him some complications with that kind of come forward pressure style, throw a lot of punches, so it'd be interesting to see how Vargas would fare in that fight. The next 2 fighters I'm going to name off actually have fights coming up soon, and I'm going to be doing a breakdown and prediction video for both of those. And honestly, in my opinion, these are probably the more competitive fights for Lomachenko at 130, and those fights would be between Jezreel Corrales and Gervonta Davis, assuming they get past Takashi Uchiyama, who Corrales is fighting in a rematch, and Jose Pedraza, who Gervonta Davis is fighting, and that is actually for a title as well. And the reason why I say the more competitive fights for Vasyl Lomachenko to make is because they are. Gervonta Davis and Jezreel Corrales are much more versatile, skilled fighters than Vargas and Salido. They do pose a threat to Vasyl Lomachenko. In some people's minds, it might not be a huge threat. I think they have a valid chance at actually winning against Lomachenko. I don't think it's very likely, but I do think it is a chance. And once again, that is purely based on the assumption that they both get past their very tough tests this month. But if they do, those 2 guys are at the top of my list for seeing Lomachenko fight against. They really are. I think it makes for a great matchup between either of those guys. Hell, even if Gervonta Davis fights Jezreel Corrales, that is a super fight in my opinion at the 130-pound division. Now I'm going to go ahead and get into the more extreme matchup between Vasyl Lomachenko and Guillermo Rigondeaux. Now I've been noticing a lot lately that Guillermo Rigondeaux has been putting some stuff on social media talking about a Lomachenko fight and how bad he wants it. Those guys are truly 2 of my favorite fighters. It would be a sight to see, to actually see that fight happen. The only issue I have with it, well, The only issue in making the fight really is the weight, or at least that's the only issue that I've come across or that I formed in my head. But nevertheless, if the fight is made and weight is not an issue, I would say that would be the definition of a true 50-50 fight. It is almost impossible to imagine who would win that fight. You're talking two of the best amateurs in history, probably the two best professionals fighting today, and the skill matchup is just phenomenal. Now I want to get into the more less pleasing option of a fight for Lomachenko. At least it's the least pleasing to me out of all the fighters that I've just named, and that's the Manny Pacquiao fight. I know Vasyl Lomachenko and Manny Pacquiao's promoter Bob Arum was actually talking about a fight between them two, and it seems to be going around a lot these days. I'm not exactly sure why, but for some reason I don't really care to see that fight happen. I know it would plunge Lomachenko to superstardom if he wins that fight, and he has everything it takes to win that fight, believe me, but at the same time, something about that matchup to me isn't quite right. If I figure that out a little bit more, I'll make a video on it. I can't seem to put my finger on it, you know what I mean? But there you have it. Those are the options that have been talked about lately, and those are some options that I threw in there that I would like to see go down. And like I said, if Jezreel Corrales and Gervonta Davis are able to get past their opponents this month, either one of those two fighters, I would definitely pay to see Lomachenko fight. They are top-notch 130 pounders. And you know, maybe I might get a little bit of shit for this video, you know, depending on who watches it. But just realize something, guys. This is my take on Vasyl Lomachenko's situation after he beat Nicholas Walters. I am a fan of the guy, but nevertheless, these are my opinions. These are fighters that I would like to see him face personally. I don't want to see Lomachenko jumping, you know, around looking for fights when there are some really good fights to be made in his weight class, and they are against potential title holders. Well, one of them is a title holder, the other one has the potential to be a title holder. And once again, I want to thank you guys in advance for watching. This is Sebastian with The Boxing Tip. Share your thoughts with me, please. I would really like to know what you guys think about the situation. Let me know if you agree or disagree with me. If you disagree, we could talk about it. If you agree, then we could talk about it some more. It doesn't really matter to me. But I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Oh, and one more thing I'd like to mention. I just want to say rest in peace to Ed Brown. He was a welterweight prospect from Chicago. I'm actually from Illinois myself. It would have been really nice to see a Chicago fighter make it to the big time. The man was really skilled. It's such a shame to see such a good fighter have a short career and a short life because of violence. I hope his family recovers well from this, and may the boxing gods accept him into paradise. Peace out.